Good evening and welcome all. Today, myself, Dr. Shavik Chaudhary, Medical Service Manager at Lupin Limited. As you remember that we have celebrated International Men's Day yesterday. So today is the day 6 or the last day of this International Men's Week, and we will discuss today on different aspects of kidney stones. So before we start, let us welcome our eminent speaker, Dr. Sanjay Pandey. Dr. Sanjay is working as a head of andrology and reconstructive urology at Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital. I welcome you, sir, in this web talk. And sir, I want to know how is your experience till date about this awareness drive, as today is the last day. Over to you, sir.
So, Shobhik, thank you so much for creating this kind of a platform where interactive mode, the way we actually able to interact with our colleagues in the society.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 days, and today being the final day of what happens to be an international men's health celebrations, which were to be celebrated as a day, we actually made it a week. So we stretch ourselves to reach the society through a wonderful platform created in partnership with Lupin India from the Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital's Department of Urology, which I represent as a department. We look forward to creating such awareness around. It has been a wonderful journey over the last 5 days. I look forward to equally enthusing journey today, which is the final day, a Saturday, where we mark an end to the kind of celebrations we look forward to really in terms of positive terms. So the positivity we bring about in awareness is all about wake up call, wake up early and take it forward, because this awareness has to make you healthy and continue to be better and better. I'm really enthused with the programs that we have created, and I'm glad the kind of people who have joined us today is the kind of program that was envisaged and thought about. Let's go ahead on the final day with kidney stones and all that your audience have asked you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. So we have the first question from the audience. Why do kidney stone forms?
Wonderful. So why do kidney stones form? Let's go back into the history. Urine is actually a kind of a liquid solution made up of water on one side and all the solutes on the other side. In other words, in Hindi, ये एक शरबत है जिसमें कुछ सॉल्यूट है और कुछ सॉल्वेंट है. सॉल्यूट वो सब कुछ है जो बॉडी वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट के द्वारा एक तरल पदार्थ के द्वारा निकालना चाहती है, और लिक्विड फॉर्म जो हम पानी की तरह पीते हैं और जो भी लिक्विड बॉडी में जनरेट होता है, ये सब कुछ एक तरह की सॉल्यूशन बनाती है जिसे हम यूरिन कहते हैं. सो यूरिन इज अ वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट विच एक्चुअली इज बीइंग एक्सक्रीटेड नॉन स्टॉप बाय द किडनीज without your knowledge and without your permission. Kidney decides to autonomically function and gives you that health which it maintains the homeostasis of the body. While happening so, if the urine is supersaturated with more amount of solutes, which includes all that, calcium and oxalate and zinc and phosphate, etc., all that which could join together and conglomerate on one side calcium, other side oxalate and phosphate and magnesium and all that, actually could join together to form a stone. Stone is nothing but a concretion or a magnet which is formed as a result of supersaturation of urine. It could form as a small nucleus where two things join together. They join together because of attraction, because of aspects which bring about an attachment of two different molecules altogether. As they gradually and silently grow without your knowledge, they could become from a small nucleus to an aggregate, and from there aggregate into a larger crystal and formally visible as a stone. So why do stones form? Stones form partly because the water content of the urine could be lesser, or the solute content could be more. In other words, in the days of physics, which you remember, supersaturated solution would not be able to dissolve. For example, this can only take up 2, 5, 6 glasses of sugar or salt. If you put 40 spoons of sugar in this, then it cannot be dissolved whatever you do. You need extra amount of water, maybe a jug of water to dissolve all that. So the solution will be super saturated, and there will be salt or sugar lying down here if you put too much of extra amount of salt or sugar, or in other words, the solutes. So remember, this solution can be super saturated if you put less amount of water or the too much of solutes. Similarly, urine can be super saturated, and this super saturation happens in times of summer season, happens in times of drinking less water, happens in times of exercise and sweating, happens in various disease and pathological states. So stone formation, which is more of an epidemiological phenomena today, silently growing and creating an emergency, can be prevented by knowing a lot about stones. And stones are something which you form regularly in the environment of the kidney functioning efficiently to bring about excretion of the waste products, which is called urine.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Why is this awareness of kidney stone is important for our audience?
Yeah, thanks, Sovik. So awareness is important. Awareness of all aspects which could safeguard your health is important. We have looked at in the last 5 days the kind of audience who have generated themselves into the highest level of understanding. So awareness of kidney stones is equally important for multiple reasons. Number one, the stones form very silently. When do they form? They form in times of supersaturation of urine. Remember, all of us are actually supersaturated of urinary solutes at some point in time. Why? There are times when we are drinking less amount of water. There are times when our urine is very concentrated. It could be dark color, which you see, or it could be very smelling or acidic, which you see. In other words, the stone formation happens intermittently. It doesn't happen all the time, or doesn't happen only in January, July, and September. What do I mean to say? I mean to say that when you go to sleep late in the night, you don't want to drink any water, don't want to get up at night, want to have a snoring and a sound sleep, and that is what we aim for. We aim for sleeping soundly and regenerating our bodies in such a way that we don't have to get up at night. We are awake and regenerated and repolished to have another fresh morning. That's what we want. If that is what we want and we have taken less amount of water, our kidneys actually getting tortured. You only that amount of water given to the body, with which so much of solutes have to be dissolved and excreted. And in doing so, the water intake of the body matters so much. So you need to be aware that dividing your water intake across the day and night, keeping your body well hydrated, will make that extra amount of water removed from the body by the kidneys, which are efficient computers that takes care of the excretory mechanism, which is such an important aspect. So, friends, those who are not nephrological patients, those who are not cardiac patients, those who don't have water restriction are lucky people. Remember, all of us are lucky today in this audience that we allow to drink as much as we can. Look at those cardiac patients, look at those nephrological patients who are allowed only 800 ml and 1.5 liters of water. They cannot drink more even if they want. They are cut across of only that much water intake. Today, as a prevention of stone formation, the awareness on stones is important because stones form silently. Stones form at times when you are sleeping around because of supersaturated urine, they nucleate, aggregate, and form stones. And they're very silently sitting on there. Unless you did a health checkup, unless the stones are picked up in advance, they will only create an emergency. And then when you wake up, it's an emergency. And at that time, you may be on a holiday, you may be at work, you may be in a different location, may not be able to reach the right doctor for the right kind of a treatment. So,
Right.
awareness is the key to pick up things early, such an important aspect because early treatment is all that we aim for. And therefore, need to be aware about a body which is so computerized but can just go haywire and wrong. Awareness of the kidney stones is of prime importance because it's an epidemiological disease. Half the Mumbai is under kidney stones. That's the situation right now. Obviously, silent. Nobody knows. Neither do we all do a health checkup. Neither we pick things early. Always a patient wakes up at night at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, comes to emergency department with a flank pain or with the bleeding and nausea and vomiting. By the time that happens, it's too late. And therefore, awareness on kidney stones is required 24/7, 365 days. And that's why we chose this topic to be kept on the last day so that people get enthused to look at if they have a kidney stone, they will never sit silent again. They will get it treated actively and forever.
Right, sir. Thank you very much. The next question is, what are the myths surrounding the kidney stones? You please help our focused audience to understand this. What are the myths and how to overcome them?
Important, very important question. What are the myths? What are the myths that very important for all people who are watching this today need to know? Number one myth: एक बार stone निकाला तो अगली बार stone नहीं बनेगा. ऐसा सच नहीं है. Once a stone former, always a stone former. Why? Because the metabolic activity in the body and the kidneys is still the same. If you had a right side stone, don't forget that you can also develop a left side stone. So it could not always be the right side unless there's an anatomical abnormality like a huge obstruction or a ureteric blockage or a significant hydronephrosis and a lazy kidney which cannot empty. Stones can form in both the kidneys. Number one. Number two, forget forever now that stones are formed from the seeds of fruits and vegetables. People ask me every day, sir, हमें टमाटर नहीं खाना, हमें भिंडी नहीं खाना, हमें गुआवा नहीं खाना, हमें पपीता नहीं खाना, इन सब के स्टोन से पत्थर बनता है. What are seeds? Seeds are non-dissolvable residue of various kinds of natural products you eat. You may eat tomatoes, you may eat brinjal, you may eat lady's finger, you may eat guavas, you may eat papaya. None of the seeds can form stones, please. The seeds are all either not absorbed and are passed in stools. You can look at them when you look at your stools the next time, but they're not actually taken by the kidneys to form stones around. That myth has been with me 24/7 all 365 days. People continue to ask me, हमारे घर में तो भिंडी और टमाटर खाते हैं इसलिए पत्थर बनता है, हमारे घर में सब कोई भिंडी टमाटर और गुआवा खाते हैं इसलिए पत्थर बनता है. So that's a very important myth. Wake up to a phenomena that you will have to be aware that not everybody forms stones in the same family. You all eat the same food on a dining table. Somebody forms stones, somebody doesn't form. Somebody passes the exam and somebody fails the exam in the same class where teacher takes the class for everybody. What does it mean? So the way there are some stone formers and non-stone formers is about there are in the urine some inhibitors of stone formation, promoters of stone formation. One of the commonest inhibitor that I'm going to talk later on the medical therapy is called citrate. And citrate is available in lemon and orange. So जितने लोग मेरे को ये कहते हैं कि मेरे को नींबू लेने से जॉइंट में दर्द होता है और सर्दी होती है, सब गलत है. ऐसा होता ही नहीं. Lemon is taken for treatment of common cold. Lemon is taken to alkalinize the urine. Lemon does not cause acidity. Maybe acidic substance, metabolism converts to an alkaline situation finally in the end in the urinary situation. So, to me, the myth is once a stone former, always a stone former is the truth. The seeds don't form stones. Divide your water intake across the day rather than becoming a farmer where you drink a bucket of water in the morning and you think you have done the job which Dr. Pandey had requested you after your discharge, which is not true. Dividing water across the day, how do you drink so much of water across the day? I keep telling people, खाने के पहले और खाने के बाद पानी पीना है. खाने के पहले कौन पानी पीना चाहते हैं? खाने के पहले हम सबकी भूख है, हम सब बहुत स्वादिष्ट खाना खाना चाहते हैं. लेकिन अगर आपने पानी पिया तो आपने एक्चुअली अपनी बॉडी को हाइड्रेट किया, यूरिन को अंडर सैचुरेट किया और वो सुपर सैचुरेशन नहीं होती. सो दिस मिथ्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट दैट you will not form stones and somebody else continues to form stones. Stone formation sadly is an epidemiological phenomenon. It is the way the kidney metabolizes and takes away the extra waste products from the body which is coming by the bloodstream is what governs your stone formation. Therefore nobody is immune to stone formation, please. ऐसा कोई नहीं है इस दुनिया में जमाने में मुंबई और दिल्ली और हैदराबाद में जिसको स्टोन नहीं बन सकता. नहीं बन रहा है बिकॉज आपकी बॉडी की बैलेंस बहुत जोरदार है. तो अपने बदन को इतना श्रेय दीजिए और इस बदन को सेफगार्ड कीजिए एंड देयरफॉर हेल्थ फॉर ऑल इन 2021 कम्स ओनली बाय अवेयरनेस.
ओके सर. सो सर स्मॉल और बिग किडनी स्टोन का खतरा क्या होता है?
ओके यस. सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द स्मॉल एंड बिग किडनी स्टोन. छोटा स्टोन अगर है तो वहां बैठा नहीं रहेगा, वो मूव करने की कोशिश कर सकता है बिकॉज एक बड़े से किडनी के कैलिसेस में पड़ा हुआ है और कहीं से भी टूट के गिर सकता है. जैसे एक पका हुआ आम टूट के गिरता है और नीचे आके गिरता है, कच्चा हुआ आम अभी बहुत देर तक पड़ा रहता है पेड़ में. Similarly, a small stone can fall down the kidney and enter the ureter. A ureter is a narrow pipe of 20 to 25 centimeters which transmits urine from the kidney down to the urinary bladder, which is a receptacle. Remember, the ureter is a very narrow pipe, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters at the top, but 1 to 2 millimeters at the bottom. Whatever enters the ureter may give you a pain, discomfort if it's a solid structure and not urine. Urine is made to pass by a bolus mechanism, and therefore urine is one which God has made for the ureters to propagate and probably distally bring it into the bladder. But if you have got a small stone, even a 2, 3, 4 millimeter stone can take life out. It can be very painful because any solid structure moving down this narrow, delicate ureter is like a car coming from the garage and going down the main road and give you a lot of difficulty. It can give you a flank pain on one side one night when you are traveling back from work, or you're in a holiday situation. It can suddenly fall down. You never knew you had a stone. So a small stone can fall down. A small stone can probably grow and get bigger. And it does not take your permission and requirement of knowledge that the stone will gradually grow without that. In other words, small stones can be dangerous in creating an emergency. Stones can be very, very large, and people are aghast at times. They did a health checkup, they did an X-ray and found a 2 and 3 centimeter stone. इतना बड़ा stone kidney में आया कैसे? So stones always grow silently. They never create any noise for the enemy, which is the human body or the human being. So many a times you may be surprised that the metabolic activity silently creeps, and over months, years, and decades you continue to form stones. It will be wrong on your part from today onwards to be sitting on stones in the kidney and continue taking medical management for it, hoping कि stone dissolve हो जाएगा. ऐसा होता नहीं. ऐसा सचमुच नहीं होता. It is very important for us to wake up to a phenomena that dissolving of stones is another big aspect which we can discuss if Dr. Shovik has a question. But large stones normally don't dissolve. कब आपने दुनिया में देखा कि शिवलिंग के ऊपर हजारों औरतें पानी डालती है और वो डिसॉल्व हो जाता है? होता कभी नहीं. So dissolving of stone is equally a myth that you can't dissolve unless the stones are small and soft. Soft and small stones can be dissolved, and we can talk about that. So large stones can be dangerous. They can destroy the kidneys. They can obstruct and thin out the kidneys over decades. Small stone can create an emergency. It can fall down, can cause a ureteric colic. Colic is a pain which happens through the tube, and this can actually trouble you. Friends, all of those who watch today, while you decided to take and safeguard your health over this whole week of discussions that we have, which you could see on other aspects we did talk about in the last 5 days, I enthuse you to be actually an audience for your own family, for yourself, and for everybody whom you know. If somebody has a kidney stone, please don't sit on it. It will trouble you one night. I face this music all 7 days at night. We've created an eighth and ninth day a week only because more and more patients come for the first time causing emergency and they forget what I say. Once a stone former, always a stone former. They come back again after a month, year, or a decade with another stone on the same or the opposite side. Stone formation needs to be prevented. There are ways to prevent, and that's where we stand tall at the Kokilaben Hospital, looking at prevention of stone formation, making you understand what to eat, what not to eat. And only food does not prevent stones. The attitude of yours to pick up early stones is also another important aspect as a part of your own therapy.
Right. Thank you for a wonderful explanation, sir. So the next question from the audience is, what are the treatments available for small and large kidney stones?
Great question. Wonderful question, actually. Thanks, audience, that you're watching and listening, and I can see new stones, new questions coming up. So the small stones will have a natural history either of growing in size or falling down. The only two natural history of stones in the kidney. Either it grows and becomes bigger and bigger, or it falls down and creates a ureteric colic. You don't want any of them. So what do? You treat today's stones proactively, prophylactically. What does it mean? आज के जमाने में हम किडनी के स्टोन्स को किडनी में ही खत्म कर सकते हैं. दुश्मन को वहीं खत्म कर दें गैरेज में, ताकि वो मेन रोड को आके ब्लॉक न करे और उस पतले से रोड को तंग न करे. What we call today as a retrograde intrarenal surgery और फ्लेक्सिबल यूरेट्रोस्कोपी, जहां हम यूरिन के रास्ते दूरबीन से किडनी में पहुंच करके उन कैलिसिस में एक या अनेक पत्थरों को बिल्कुल पाउडर चकनाचूर करके निकाल सकते हैं. ये सर्जरी आधे घंटे, 45 मिनट, 1 घंटे की सर्जरी होती है, जिसमें हमने जाकर के फैक्ट्री में ही स्टोन्स को खत्म कर दिया. ऐसे कंडीशन में न स्टोन बढ़ेंगे, न स्टोन नीचे गिरेंगे और न आपको इमरजेंसी बनाएंगे. Small stones can be treated by this way. Number one. Remember, the other thing is, the era was when the small stones, anything between 4-5 millimeters to 8 to 10 millimeters, could also be treated by lithotripsy from outside. That's a great treatment. We continue to do it at Kokilaben Hospital on the second floor Department of Urology. And our colleagues in urology in Mumbai and across the country still do use lithotripsy as a wonderful modality of powdering the stones internally and letting your own system wash it off, dissolve it, and bring it out. The lithotripsy is a very old kind of mechanism which has undergone a series of advances and changes today, where a very fine way of painless management, where you're lying down on a special kind of water bath and be pulverized by sound waves that powders it. So small stone can be treated even by ESWL if they are soft, or by flexible ureteroscopy, where a small ureteroscope enters your body under general anesthesia and cures you of a condition which could threaten your future at an unknown time, etc. For the large stones, today and always, we used to do an open surgery, but now we have got the PCNL over the last 2 decades, which has been miniaturized by a mini perk and ultra mini perk, where we puncture the kidney because the kidneys are at the back, and we puncture the kidneys directly, enter there, powder and laser the stone, wash off everything, clean it up, and put a stent. So PCNL, percutaneous nephrolithotripsy, is the treatment of choice for all patients who have got large kidney stones or multiple large kidney stones. For smaller stones, please don't sit home. Please don't think always of dissolving stones. The dissolution component is a component which your urologist only would decide based on a possible CT scan. I also want a word of caution here, Dr. Shovik. Some very small stones of 2, 3, 4 millimeters, which are called microliths, need not be panicked. An ultrasound is a great investigation and a screening investigation, and respected sonologists in the country pick up early stones, even small stones. Sometimes even a sonologist can get confused between a very small stone and a fat globule of the stone shadowing. And as a urologist, we would like to look at confirming this by a CT scan. So very important that we not always treat stones on the basis of X-rays and sonographies, but we go to the highest level because CT can tell the actual hardness, the actual size, and umpteen more things which a sonography sometimes can miss.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful explanation. There is another question. What is your advice on the stone formers, especially those who self-medicate in the kidney stones?
Self-medication is not acceptable. I'm so sorry. Self-medication, attempting to do all kinds of therapies available off the counter, is probably playing with health. You have only one body, you have only one life. You have a very efficient system called kidneys. Haven't you heard of kidney failures? Haven't you heard of young men taking various kinds of medications I would not name and had a kidney failure around? Kidneys are very precious organs. Self-medication for stone formation and trying all those therapies which is available on Google and YouTube I would not enthuse you for that. You have one body, you will not take an unconscious decision about your finance. You're very, very careful about safeguarding your finance and your salary. Similarly, you will safeguard your health and probably your organs too. Like for your heart and for brain, you won't take any chances. Similarly, you won't take chances on the kidneys around. So self-medication is not acceptable. Don't go just by the talks and lectures that we would probably be giving. We always look at will personally across the table. I would look at right approach to a right individual. Though I speak here on a broad sense of timeline, I don't mean that whatever I speak could be final gospel for anybody and everybody. We only tend to make people aware in the society. Society is made of very learned individuals, people who have got great experience on many aspects of it. But when you look at the intricate science and the intricate activities which kidney performs, let's not jeopardize the activity of kidneys by taking something and everything which could be off the counter and self-medication. If you need to self-medicate, improve your water intake. If you need to self-medicate, increase your citrate intake, which is lemon and orange. Lemon and orange is good for you in terms of increasing the amount of citrate in urine. Remember, the most important inhibitor of stone formation is citrate that we give as medicated forms around. Alkalinizers could alkalinize the urine. Some stones form in acidic urine, some stones form in alkaline urine. So we need to alkaline the urine in majority of cases because acidic urine could precipitate stone formation. Alkaline urine could precipitate infection-related stones, which are called Stroh-White stones. And therefore, infections of various kinds of bacteria, namely the Proteus or urea splitting bacteria, happens in alkaline urine. And alkaline urine related stones are normally large staghorn stones. Because somebody is getting a recurrent urinary tract infection, apart from urine test, apart from ultrasound, there's X-ray, KUV, and ultrasound, which can pick up a very large stone sitting there very silently over decades. So alkaline urine can lead to formation of various kinds of Stroh-White stones or infection-related stones. Most of the stones will otherwise form in acidic stones, and we want to alkaline our urine, which can be best done by alkalizers, which can be best done by drinking good amount of water, dividing it across the day. Please drink water before you go for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You will be hydrating your body well. You will be taking lesser amount of food and probably adding a less amount of junk to your body. You will be staying healthier by hydrating your body and keeping yourself fit.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for answering this question so nicely. So you have almost answered the same question which has come next. What is your advice in prevention of stones? Almost you have answered everything. Do you want to add some
True.
points in this? Uh,
So prevention of stones may not
uh,
be in your capacity.
yeah.
Kidney will continue to do what it has to do because kidney, an efficient organ, has to be the bandmaster of entire orchestra of excessive amount of stuff which has to be removed by the body. It's a purifier. It purifies the blood of all those excessive amount of metabolites that has to be removed. So you may not be able to prevent it. Yes, so to prevent stone formation in active stone formers and those who have formed stone again and again, what we do as urologists is metabolic workup. We look at a 24 hours urine evaluation. When do we do it? We also look at the blood test. So we look at serum calcium, serum phosphorus, serum uric acid, serum parathormone, serum vitamin D3, and serum uric acid. Those things which could actually be the harbinger of stone former and B could be high in the blood. When they could be high in the blood, kidney won't pardon them. They will pull all of them into the urine. When it comes into the urine, that's where the whole story starts. High amount of calcium, oxalate, etc. in the urine could actually be adding and supersaturating and probably troubling. That's the time if you have had good amount of water intake divided across the day, all these excessive solutes which are coming in the urine will be dissolved and washed off. You may have some crystals in urine, otherwise you'll be able to dissolve all of them off. So that's an important aspect all the time. Look into it that you will be looking at prevention of stones by getting into an active workup by your doctor. Your doctor looks at metabolic workup and prevents stones. He also asks you to you show a urine routine, which tells us whether the urine is having a specific gravity of this, what kind of crystals do form, etc. So it's a large workup. Just prevention cannot just be sitting at home. Prevention is about doing a sonography once in 6 months or a year if you have been a stone former in the past. Lest you will form another silent stone in the same or the opposite kidney and it could be trouble around. So friends, prevention is an attitude. Prevention is also to be partners with your urologist who treated you. Don't forget that you don't want to come back again every alternate year in an emergency department with the left stone falling down, right stone falling down, or you pick up something years later. I get to see that at Kokilaben Hospital very frequently, where we operated somebody in emergency and gave them a gospel of truth, what we're telling today. They still sleep on it and probably continue to do all the junk and come back again. Another emergency, another wrong day, wrong time, and wrong hour, the wrong condition. Many a times, kidney stones can be troublesome. So important for us to wake up to a phenomenon that Prevention is an attitude. Prevention is a lot on a teamwork between you or your urologist. He will look at all those metabolic activities which is promoting stone formation, because you had 1 and 2 in your childhood. There is a 50% chance of recurrence of stone formation in 10 years. It can even happen. It can even recur in 10 weeks and 10 months. So don't wait for 10 more years to form another stone in 50% people. People have formed stones again in the same or the opposite kidney in 10 weeks or 10 months too. Wake up to this phenomenon today. You will safeguard yourself and your family much better.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying this doubt. There is a next question. Like many times, there is a confusion in between the stones of other organs and their treatment. Could you clarify this, sir?
I will. I surely will. So, if there's a gallstone, the gallbladder is diseased. The gallbladder needs to be removed. That's called cholecystectomy. Otherwise, it will give you cholecystitis or pain on the right hypochondrium up there, just below the liver. The submandibular glands can form stones. They are again very silent. And when they form stones, there could be sialoadenitis, there could be a bulge or palpable thing, and they probably cut down and remove that stone. Pancreas can form stones, and the pancreatic stones can be disaster. They can cause pancreatitis, and this is an amazing kind of work today. Our colleagues in the gastroenterology by endoscopic techniques can do all that for the CBD stones which fall down and cause jaundice, and which escape from the gallbladder and the pancreatic stones. So stones from other organs are different from stones here. Many times they say we had a gallbladder stone and now kidney. Sorry, that's not true. As a urologist, we are dealing only with kidney stones. We were surgeons before and used to deal with gallbladder and the pancreatic stones, but no more. So, as a specialist in the kidney, a urologist would be deeply interested in identifying and preventing stones. Identifying a stone and therefore treating it correctly, not leaving it. And therefore, I said, right approach to a right individual. Somebody may get a lithotripsy, somebody may get a RIRS or a flexible ureteroscopy, somebody may get a PCNL, somebody may probably love to wait and say that I don't have pain, why do I get treated? If you don't get treated today, the cause of your pain could be a physical pain or possibly loss of a kidney or damage to a kidney. So don't sit on a silent stone. There are only two natural histories, either growth or falling down and causing ureteric colic, injury, pain, difficulty, none of them which you want in your future. So prevention is rule. Improving your water intake is such an important aspect.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying this. So we are going to the next question. Why does a urologist stand tall in evaluating and treating kidney stones?
So, Souvik rightly said, a urologist in this country, my all friends at the Urology Society of India, in each two-tier city, in each metro, in each location, is deeply involved in this epidemiological phenomena of stones. He knows how to safeguard the kidney better than you. Your kidney is the master and probably bandmaster of the orchestra, which takes care of the excretory mechanism and the metabolism. It also in childhood is important for the growth. If some children's kidneys don't form or don't grow well, the child doesn't grow well. So as a urologist, while he safeguards kidney from other diseases and looks at a tumor or a cancer happening or probably injuries happening around with his friend nephrologist, it is important as a urologist to identify everything, the medical and the surgical aspect of stone. He knows that if a stone stays there, it will only trouble. And therefore, we won't let trouble happen to you. As probably custodians of kidney, we look forward to, as a urologist, identifying stones in time. And therefore, we look at ultrasound as one important aspect, but we also do a CT scan. We look at the actual hardness of the stone. We understand which stone can be powdered easily, which stone may not be powdered easily, which stone is a complete staghorn stone occupying the entire kidney. What are the ways, even if you come very late or very early, to treat you? It's important, therefore, as a urologist, a custodian of kidney, urinary, and prostate health, that he takes care of your health. And as I said, this is a man phenomena, a female phenomena, an elderly, and a pediatric phenomena. So as a urologist, we deal with the pediatric age group, the adolescent, the adults, and geriatrics. We deal with both men and women. It is important as urologists, we continue to work hard in this epidemiological phenomena where stones continue to form partly because of our dietary habits, partly because of habits that we have postponed our therapy while knowing that we have got stones in the kidney. Many patients continue to do sonography year after year, hoping dissolution will happen and taking all those therapies which have little meaning or no meaning at all. Wake up to it today and forever.
Thank you, sir. Urologist at the Karchan of the kidneys. Thank you very much. And the next question is, what is metabolic evaluation and why is that done in kidney stones?
It's important. It's a turning and a pivotal point to bring about a change in the activity of the kidney. You really can't govern your heart and your brain and your kidney. The kidney functions the way it is. It continues to bring all the metabolites, continues to streamline and purify your bladder. Your blood. It purifies your blood and takes away all the waste products from there. It has to take all the waste and then dissolve and then probably create urine, which has to come out. And therefore, it's important for us to look at that the kidney stones are not allowed to form. In other words, metabolic evaluation is something where we look at the metabolism or the changes happening, which governs and stones form again and again. As I said, 50% recurrence in individuals who form stone once could form stone again in 10 years' time, but 10 weeks and 10 months are not long. It could form stones again silently there. And therefore, metabolic evaluation is about looking at whatever is high in the blood as calcium, oxalate, uric acid, phosphate, and parathormone and vitamin D3 are the blood parameters. And looking at the urinary parameters, there's a 24 hours urine evaluation. So for those who get metabolic evaluation, we do a 24 hours urine collection. And of that, a sample is tested as to what is high in the urine. Whatever is high in the urine could possibly not be dissolving, but joining, nucleating, aggregating, and probably forming bigger stones. And that metabolic activity is helping us to evaluate what kind of diet, what kind of activity, what kind of medication I would be able to utilize in this individual and that individual. As I said, right approach to a right individual. Two same patients are not the same. Two patients are totally different. The same patient may be different the next year around. And therefore, we need to always identify the right approach in all individuals.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering these questions so nicely. So, one more question. Why should emergency in kidney stones never be postponed?
Emergency in kidney stones should never be
In kidney
postponed.
stones never postponed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I've got the question. I've got the question. So, wait.
Yeah.
So, emergency in kidney stone could be a stone falling down the ureter. That could be the big emergency. That means a stone is trying to block your kidney or the kidney pipe. It could cause a hydronephrosis or swelling in the kidney. It could cause a hydroureteronephrosis where the kidney and ureters both are swollen till the point in time where the stone is blocked. So imagine the stone fell down and blocked the upper ureter or the middle ureter or the narrowest lower ureter where most of the stones get blocked even if they're very small. If that is an emergency, you will have a pain till the time the stone is moving. Thereafter, the pain will disappear. Your doctors would give you the right medications to whosoever doctor you see. Your general physician, who are our colleagues in the society and who help us refer stones much earlier than you could have thought about. And they're all friends to us because colleagues in Bombay who are physicians or general practitioners really wake up to the call that they want to pick up stones early in the society and refer to urology colleagues across. In other words, a stone which is an emergency needs to be treated and completely cured. If you have a stone blocking the ureter and it's not coming down, don't sit on it attempting to drink lots of water and keep taking injection lasses and probably causing damage to kidneys. A stone cannot come out because the stone is too big for a narrow ureter, whatever the size of stone. Tell me why a 3 or a 4 or a 5 millimeter stone get blocked and sometimes a 1 centimeter stone comes out. It probably is the pliability of the kidney, the tightness of the ureter, the kind of the lie that the stone has. Is it longitudinal or is it transversely falling into ureter? So there are many things which looked at. There is something called as medical expulsion therapy, but that has to be looked at under a very controlled condition. You just can't be giving laxatives. You can't be drinking buckets of water and giving saline and trying to push a stone. If the door is closed, a big or a small man cannot go through the door. The door has to be open. In other words, the door opening would happen by a ureteroscopy by a urologist under emergency conditions. If not so, the urine which is blocked can get infected. And in diabetics, it can happen worse. Please don't forget one single sentence. 1 in 4,000 individuals are born with only one kidney. So how does everybody know that you have got two kidneys? It could be possible that you and I could be lucky or unlucky to be born with only one kidney. That we have got two, we probably relax and think, kuch nahi hone wala. Like we have two hands. Even if one fractures, other continues to work. What happens if this is the only kidney that we have and that kidney probably gets blocked with the ureter? You may land up in anuria. That means no urine comes out. You may have a dramatic rise in creatinine level. You go into an obstructive kidney failure. So for God's sake, any emergency created by a kidney stone, which includes pain, fever, vomiting, bleeding, which all is on one side, left or right, and it's going down anteriorly towards the urinary bladder, is almost always a stone situation. Never postpone it. See your urologist in your town, in your city. You should get sorted out. You should get the ureter, a delicate pipe, not to be living with stones around. You never want your car to be blocking the main road forever. Please clear your car of your main road. It was sitting in a garage. It was silent, acceptable, but cannot be blocking the main road, the narrow ureter, which is a delicate mechanism to empty you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful words. There are more questions from the audience, so we are taking it. We are out of the time, but today is the last day, so we'll take.
No, we should take all the questions, please. Whatever
Yes,
questions you also had.
yeah, yeah, sir. The first question is: too much tomatoes or cranberry usage can be a reason for kidney stone?
And oh no, that's all. Seeds
Yeah.
don't form stones. And how much tomatoes can you eat in a day? You can probably eat so much of rice, but you can only eat half or two tomatoes. Tomatoes and brinjals, seeds and seeds of guava and seeds of lady's finger don't form stones. It's a wake-up call for us to be realistic today and practical today, rather than getting back to tomatoes again and again.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, till what size stone will be out from the body with medication?
That's a good question. That's a wonderful question. There's something called as medical expulsive therapy. That means MET is a kind of therapy we all attend to. We look at a smaller stone blocking the lower ureter and not the upper ureter. If the stone is blocking the upper ureter, to come down all the way itself is a trauma because it's got blocked up there. So a stone which is in the lower ureter, a stone which has been recently blocked, which is an hour a day, but not a week or a month before, and a stone
Yeah.
which is as small as 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters could possibly be worked up by a close medical management where a urologist could give antispasmodics. He may give specific kind of medications known to medical field which helps in relaxation of the ureter for the stone to come out. In such situations, never attempt to give hydrotherapy and Lasix. Hydrotherapy can be drinking good amount of water, but not to give Lasix and force diuresis where sometimes kidney can even rupture. You're not seen those emergencies which I go through regularly, and therefore I would request not to try any experiments. See your urologist in time if you have got a stone which is small and not coming out. A simple question: if that is the door, why are you not able to go out of the door? You're only 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters. You should have gone out, which can be taken off if it's a very early stone which has just fallen down today afternoon, today morning, or probably on the last few days, because as the stone stays longer in the ureter, its attempt to come out is only causing more and more swelling internally. It causes more and more choking effect. Many a times the ureteric jet disappears, the kidney upstairs becomes more ballooned, and the pain again comes back because of a stretch of the kidney and the ureter. So friends, the smaller the stone, earlier the stone picked up in an emergency, possibility of a medical management combined together minus Lasix, minus forced diuresis could probably help in some cases. If it doesn't help, if you're developing more fever, if there's fever, if a total WBC counts are rising, and if you're a diabetic, please don't look at medical expulsion therapy. Look at your urologist who proactively wants to treat you earlier than later.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful explanation. There is the next question. What is the reason as some people get kidney stones again and again?
So as I told you, the metabolic activity which is
Yeah.
innate inside the body has not been picked up.
Hmm.
Five people sit on the dining table every day and eat the same food, and other people start blaming that you ate something else and therefore you form stones. Food never forms stones, otherwise the whole country would be under stones right now. So it's not that you eat something and you form stones, but some people are prone to stone formation because of the way the kidney works, the metabolism in the body works, and therefore some people can form stones again and again compared to other people. Our deep interest today is to wake up to phenomena that the stone formation is an amazing kind of a tendency which can happen to one individual on one kidney and the other kidney, left and right, etc., etc. Therefore, let's not look into leaving out the aspect that I have been a stone former in the past. I will work hard to prevent stone
Yeah.
formation. My job is to look at how do I safeguard my kidneys? How do I contribute towards prevention of stone formation, which Dr. Pandey and his urology colleagues across the country have attempted to make us aware about. Early management is the key, and therefore we look at treating stones before they become a trouble around. So stone formation can be prevented. Stone formation, sadly, is a rule, and that rule has to be broken by a metabolic activity. Let me also tell that eating too much of calcium does not form stones. Please don't get into that. Eating too much of something will not form stones in individuals. Women postmenopausal are given calcium by the gynecologists, by orthopedicians, and that is a medicated or a therapeutic dose that does not form stones. Imagine you're completely derived or bereft of calcium. Your body would actually look at dissolving the bones and the stones coming out. Immobilized patients who are completely on bed, paralyzed for years, Parkinson's, cannot move. They may form stones because of immobilization, because the bones then resolve. And whatever extra resolve comes to the urine, the blood system, the kidney has to clear anything which is abnormal in the blood. If the kidney fails, you find that the blood is not being cleared, the creatinine rises, the waste products rise. And therefore, kidney being an efficient mechanism, don't take it lightly. Safeguard it and probably see your urologist for looking at a stone prevention at one aspect if you have been a past stone former. Many people come and say, I had a stone in the past, Dr. Pandey, for 10 years ago. I said, have you done a sonography in the last 10 years? They said, no. I said, do a sonography and see me today evening. There's a surprise waiting for you. It could be a sweet surprise. We want to prevent a serious surprise by preventing an emergency because the stone is sitting there. So once a stone former, always a stone former, work hard really to prevent stones. That's the only way. Early management is the key whenever you pick it up.
Thank you. So the next question is, what are the drugs induce stone formation?
Not many, but
Okay.
there's something called as triamterene. There are some drugs, there are some anti-retroviral drugs around. Not many drugs do form stones around. So let's not really get worried about. So I know triamterene stones, I've looked at it. I've looked at retroviral medications which have been used for HIV. Some of them have formed stones around. But overall, I've not looked at drugs or medications forming stones around. There's so much else which can form stones around. There's so much to be removed around to form stones. So I don't think that's a big worry to me immediately.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. The next question is there any role of probiotics in the management of kidney stone?
There's not much evidence of this right now. I would not be able to actually quote anecdotal reports. Probiotics are basically pro towards antibiotic use and abuse, and therefore it is to help prevention of abuse of antibiotics, to look at safeguarding those mechanisms where the infections don't happen. Probiotics are used in recurrent urinary tract infections, recurrent gastrointestinal tract infections. Probiotics that definitely don't have an emphatic role proven or have a Cochrane review to speak that taking probiotics will prevent stone formation. You know that you will prevent stone formation by the techniques I requested. I'll speak that again at the end of the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful explanation. There is another question. Many times, a family members suggest for a herbal medication. So, for the stone size of 12 to 15 mm. So, should we do that?
I would
No.
never advise anybody. I would look
Mhm.
at your body coming once in lifetime. I would look at
Mhm.
your kidneys forming once in lifetime, and I want to prove to you that your stone also, touch wood, should come to only once in lifetime of 12 to 15 millimeter. That's a large stone. For all practical purposes, it will not be able to come down the ureter, whatever happens around. Ureter is 2, 3, 5 millimeters at the top and gradually narrows down. So if it comes in, it will get blocked in the upper ureter. Your attempt to herbal medication is only postponement of the inevitable. That means the stone will gradually grow and you would never be able to melt out. I'm not sure about other branches of medicines which are parallel branches beyond allopathy, but there is a huge amount of evidence-based medicine today. Without an evidence, you would not take this and that. You always look at evidence today. Though you are a Google patient, don't be that. Look at your urologist who has got an experience. In today's world, evidence and experience is what that amalgamates. And therefore, doctors strive hard to keep themselves abreast on the medical therapy, on the surgical therapy, utilizing that therapy which they know best, which they have got a 95 to 100% success results, rather than trying something which has not much value. I would not look into herbal medications per se. That's not my science, and it will be wrong on my part to actually look at if there's any evidence which is available and somebody has got treated for 12, 15 millimeters, it will be too, large thing to be asked for from the body.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful explanation. So, we're coming to the last question now. Do alkalizer with tamsulosin helps to dissolve the stone of 4 to 5 mm, or do they help to remove it?
So if you take it
Sir,
forward,
uh,
alkalizers actually alkalize the urine. Alkalizing the urine may certainly not dissolve the stone tomorrow. There are only uric acid stones and some softer stones which can be dissolved by a medical dissolution therapy. You may not be able to dissolve a stone when you wake up to it in an emergency. Dissolution of smaller stones is a lot by safeguarding your intake, at the same time giving medicines which bring about a dissolution. Basically, they are all citrate therapies or alkaline therapies. Now, tamsulosin is used for lower ureteric area where lower ureter has got alpha receptors. An alpha blockade would bring about a decrease in the edema and relaxation of the lower ureter for the stones to come out. That means the ureter would relax because of tamsulosin therapy in an early stone which fell down and is trying to choke the ureter. And that's where we'll be able to probably get a stone out. To me, this kind of a therapy is not about dissolution. This kind of a therapy is about expulsion. You can't really dissolve a stone sitting in the ureter. That's beyond even discussion and imagination in today's world. Dissolving a stone in the ureter. You can dissolve some smaller stones, very fine, very close, aggressive monitoring and therapy only in the kidney. But dissolving in the
thank you.
ureter is a far-fetched situation around. So
Thank,
waking up to this phenomena is such an important aspect.
yeah, thank you. So, this is the last question we'll take from the audience. We're running out of the time. What should be the lifestyle modification to prevent the stone formation?
Wonderful question. Thank you for asking audience these kind of questions. Number one, the lifestyle modification. Number one is I in this family form stones. Other four people don't form stones. I will work hard towards modifying my lifestyle. I would improve my water intake across the day and the night, which means that before every principal meal, if I'm lucky enough not to be a nephrological patient or a cardiac patient, where my water has not been restricted by respective doctors, I would look at Dr. Pandey and divide my water intake across the day and the night. I will not become a farmer with an intermittent supersaturation of urine where I drink water in the day and then substitute water to tea, coffee, cola, and alcohol and think I'm drinking water. That's not true. Water and Adam's ale is water and only water. So you divide your water intake across the day. You give kidney extra amount of water. Don't forget, your kidney anyway handles 185 to 190 liters every day of the cardiac output, 25% of which goes every minute to the kidney. So kidney is an efficient organ till sadly it becomes inefficient. And therefore safeguarding its health is also to give good amount of water to the kidneys. Therefore, the urine would be less acidic, the urine would be less undersaturated. Dividing the water intake before every principal meal also makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise in terms of taking lesser amount of food. Sadly, a lot of junk food has gone into our diet in today's world.
Yes.
Number two, I know that those who are stone formers, for them, decreasing their tea, coffee, cola, chocolates, green vegetables, milk products, and animal proteins. Decreasing, I didn't say stop. I didn't say stop anything. Stopping anything or nothing won't make a difference. If you cut down these kind of insults, which actually facilitate stone formation, they facilitate stone formation. You actually would be facilitating your kidneys function. If you take too much of oxalate through a cola drink, if you take too much of tea, coffee, oxalate, lot of people are getting into cafe coffee day and Starbucks morning till midnight as a kind of liquid that they want to do across the meetings that they generate. May be wrong. You need to divide your water intake because your kidneys are screaming for water. They want water to dissolve all those waste products which they have imbibed from the kidney, which is their responsibility to take it down the gutter. And for that, your water intake dividing, keeping your urine dilute, which I can test only by urine routine examination, knowing the specific gravity and knowing the hydration, knowing the pH, I will know everything around. An acidic urine is a concentrated urine. It smells a lot. An alkaline urine, which is more than 7 pH, if you can achieve 6.57, you're doing great, which may not be humanly possible all the time. Number one. Number two, increase your citrate, which is lemon and orange. If you do so, you possibly are keeping your environment of urine high amount of citrate. And I said citrate is a preventer of stone aggregation. So two things don't join. What don't join? Calcium and oxalate. That's the commonest stone that is in the country. Calcium oxalate. 85 to 95% individuals form calcium oxalate stone. They can have impurities of magnesium and struvite and uric acid and all that. But calcium oxalate happens to be the bunch of the stones that we deal with as urologists, operating them, treating them. The hard stones, difficult to pulverize and powder even with laser. That we use laser and ureteroscopes, that we have got instrumentations in every institute, including at Kokilabhen Hospital, all kinds of miniaturized instruments where we can enter your body, powder, clear, and remove the stone, which was gradually forming over decades. It is important for you to wake up to a phenomena that awareness today was the key, number one. Number two, early management is the key in stone formation. If you have a stone in the kidney, don't continue repeating health checkups and ultrasounds and keep waiting on it. If you have been a stone former once, you could form stone again in the same or the opposite kidney. And therefore, don't sit back. Do your ultrasound once in 6 months to 1 year. Pick up early stones. See your urologist, and that's where dissolution therapy may work. Your dietary modification may work. If you are multiple stone formers, if you've got multiple stones in both the kidneys, or you form stones more frequently, your urologist would do a metabolic evaluation. He would look at the blood tests which are requested. We look at the urine test of 24 hours, identify what is high in the blood and high in the urine. Look at preventing them from getting high. There are medical treatments for high uric acid levels and high oxalate and high amount of parath hormone called PTH, which is the bandmaster of the bigger orchestra of calcium metabolism, which is behind the thyroids, called parathyroid glands. Sometimes may be removed in multiple stone formers or recurrent stone formers because there's parathyroid adenoma. So there are many more things that meets beyond the eye of society. Today, that we are sitting on a wonderful platform where we have come out of the myth that in only summer season we'll have stones. Only if we drink less water we'll have stones. None of them is true. Friends, as we gracefully age, number one, as we get into more urban lifestyle, as we get more busier, water sadly has disappeared from our diets. That should not happen. Let's go back to the days of lantern and candles. Let's go back to our days of teaching of our parents and our mythology. Let's look into dividing our water intake, and that's the essence of life. Dividing our water intake across the day and the night. For stone formers, I always ask them to drink water at night before they go to sleep, so that they get up in the night, look at that there are no thieves anywhere, and then they probably drink more water and go to sleep. In doing so, they're actually hydrating their body and they're keeping the urinary environment undersaturated. Friends, I do speak on the YouTube, on my own channel, on various kinds of stone aspects and various kinds of early therapies. On aspects on men's health, where we have attempted to connect to you, it is important that you look at opening up my YouTube channel could help you, because I could not have spoken all in this kind of a wonderful bombardment of questions that you have passed on, which Dr. Souvik has assimilated.
Yeah, thank you. Sir, yeah, before closing this session, so do you want to say anything about the prevalence of kidney stone has increases drastically in India? So,
Yeah.
do you have
So the
any-
modern life, modern lifestyle, the kind of dietary habits, absence of water intake from our normal daily routine, which I have requested to be divided across the day. I pray nobody has got nephrological and cardiac diseases, and therefore the water intake could be at their own liberty. Go and look at the nephro patients and the cardiac patients. Their water is curtailed. They even beg for water, and we cannot get water because their heart and kidneys cannot handle. So make hay while sun shines. Make hay while you have a stone still in the kidney to be powdering it, lasing it, getting a flexible ureteroscopy. Your urologist is qualified. He knows better than anybody else as to what kind of approach he will identify and take it forward to prevent an emergency of stones and stone related diseases in the future. Once a stone former, always a stone former. To be each of us in the audience who form stones or your family member who form stones, tomorrow should be a wake up call of doing a sonography, picking up a stone, and if it looks little doubtful, we do a plain CT scan KUB, identify by a stone protocol the Hounsfield units. Can it be powdered or lasered, or we do medical therapy, or we do a flexible ureteroscopy? It's always nice to treat stones in the kidney before they cause a havoc and a trauma of emergencies of bleeding, pain, fever, sepsis, etc., etc. It was a wake-up call on the kind of 6 days of attempt that we have made on an example of International Men's Health Day, which was yesterday, Friday. But at Lupin India and at the Kokilabin Hospital Department of Urology, we have looked at on the second floor, making this very kind of an attitude of helping people out. My apologies to many patients who actually come and have to wait. Many a times don't get an appointment, but we open 24/7 to you. Not the emergency hours where you land up sadly, but into the places where you come and wait, and we look at it that you are an important individual in the society. You run your family, you run the organization where you work in, and you're responsible for so many things around. To have an emergency on you because of kidney stones, which sadly is becoming a epidemiological disease, will not be good. Health 2021 is a wake-up call. While we are coming out of the crossroads of this important disease, which has actually swept the world, called the pandemic COVID, it's important to continue attaching each other and probably be friends across the table, identify things, and probably treating it. This awareness drive, which comes from this wonderful platform of Lupin India, I feel really proud of the team that has actually made it forward. Everybody in the team, which includes the entire team of Dr. Lokesh and Dr. Shovik and Weber and Anupam and Sanjay and everybody, all those who have done a great job on this. Thank you so much for actually envisaging a program like this. Friends, if I missed out your questions, I will always answer it back. My YouTube channel goes by my name and it's open. Leave your questions there. I will always answer you. Oxalate binder, sodium, cellulose, phosphate role in calcium stone former. My opinion is it has to be individualized. You cannot take it off the counter. The doctor has to decide what it is. It's important for us to prevent your trouble, improve your water intake. Other liquids can wait, but water divided across the day before every principal meal and before you go to sleep at night would keep your doctor away from stones and stone-related surgeries. But Shovik, the stage is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, since 6 days, we have discussed, shared, and learned about the evidences and the responses needed to achieve better men's health. So, according to health experts, about 70% of the health problems can be treated and controlled through the lifestyle changes and to follow the instructions of experts like you, Dr. Sanjay. So our motto of this Men's Health Week was to encourage us men to take steps for a healthier and longer life. And so, on behalf of Lupin, we are concluding this hectic and successful 1 week of discussion about this men's health. And we especially thank to Dr. Sanjay for making the discussion so rich and taking his valuable time and to make this week a success. Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjay, to join with us. And on behalf of Lupin, we're very grateful and thank you to you. Thank you.
Thanks all. Very well done. We'll meet again. All the programs that Lupin India has done in the early part of this year, which were longer programs, and the shorter versions, which actually happened this week, are all there for you to see. Anything else that you want to see on men's health, on women's health, on kidney issues, on transplant, on sexuality, on various kinds of surgeries that I'll end up doing, it's all on my YouTube channel. You're always welcome to connect at the Kokilabin Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital and Department of Urology. As I represent Team Urology and my colleagues, Dr. Vijay and Dr. Ismail, we happen to be a team which is interested in your health. We want to prevent you from any kind of an emergency that you can work hard by identifying early stones, by identifying early cancers of the kidney and the prostate, by looking at your sexuality and looking at your partnerships and infertility, by looking at all that you have on Peyronie's disease, anything and everything that you heard on my channel, in the YouTube, or these 5 days of extensive discussion that Dr. Shovik had created for us. I salute each of you for having joined it. We'll connect again and again. Thank you for the program, which has actually taken a huge amount of awareness back to the society. That was our aim. We'll come back to you again. Thank you for the
Thank you,
energy
sir.
that you had to come back to
Thank you,
us
sir.
again and again, all days.
Thank you. Good night. Yeah, bye.
Thank you and good night.